English Leap Podcast.
Learn easy English with Speak English Like a Pro. Hey, English learners! Welcome back to the English Leap Podcast, your cozy place to learn easy English through real-life conversations and real feelings at the same time.
Yeah, welcome back, everyone. And I want to start today by doing something slightly strange.
Slightly strange, okay?
I want you to stop listening for just 5 seconds. Do not rewind, do not pause. Just stop following the words for 5 seconds and notice something.
Notice what language your thoughts are arriving in right now.
Are they in English? Are they in your native language? Are they in some interesting mix of both?
Because that question, that tiny observation about what language lives inside your head, is the entire subject of today's episode.
And it is the subject that separates English learners who plateau for years from English learners who suddenly break through and never look back.
Plateau. That is when your progress stops moving, like a mountain that suddenly becomes flat. You were climbing, and then one day you just stopped going up.
And most learners spend months, sometimes years on that plateau, studying hard, working consistently, but feeling like the fluency they want is still somehow just out of reach.
And the reason is almost always the same thing. They are still thinking in their native language and translating into English.
Every sentence, every thought, every response, it goes through a translation process first, native language in, English out, like a machine running a very slow program.
And that translation process is the ceiling. As long as it is running, real fluency cannot happen because real fluency is not translated. Real fluency is direct.
Thought in English, words in English, no translation, no delay, no machine running in the background.
And today, we're giving you 5 specific, simple, immediately usable ways to start thinking in English. Not someday, not when your level is higher, today.
Starting from your very next thought after this episode ends.
This is a B1 level episode, clear, warm, and practical. We will explain the important vocabulary as we go, and at the end, we will have our word tour with 10 powerful expressions from today.
Before we begin, one request. If this podcast makes your English feel alive and growing, please like this episode and subscribe to the English Leap podcast. Every single subscription genuinely means the world to us.
And in the comments today, we want you to tell us, what was the last thought you had in English? Even one word counts. Write it below. We read everything.
Okay, before we get into the 5 ways, I want to share something personal because I think it will change the way you understand what thinking in English actually means.
Tell us.
When I was learning English, there was a very specific moment when I knew something had shifted. I was not in class, I was not studying, I was in a supermarket looking at 2 different types of bread.
The bread aisle, a deeply spiritual place.
Apparently. And I was standing there comparing them, and my brain said, without me asking it to, this one is cheaper, but that one looks fresher.
In English.
In English, without translation, without effort, without even noticing until the thought was already finished.
And how did that feel?
Extraordinary, like the door had opened in a room I did not know existed, like English had stopped being something I was learning and had started being something I was living.
And that moment is available to every single person listening right now. Not years from now, not after the next grammar book, sooner than you think.
But it requires a specific practice, a specific decision to let English in, not just in your study time, in your mind, in your inner life.
And that is exactly what today is about.
Way number 1, narrate your life in English.
Narrate your life. It sounds like you are the main character of a documentary.
You are the main character of a documentary. We all are. And this technique is simply about running a quiet English commentary on whatever you are doing throughout your day.
So when you wake up in the morning, instead of letting your thoughts arrive in your native language, you gently redirect them in English. I am so tired. Why is the alarm so loud? I need coffee immediately.
The most relatable English thoughts.
Extremely relatable. And when you're making breakfast, I have no eggs. Again, I really need to go shopping.
When you're getting dressed, where is my blue shirt? I know I washed it. It has completely disappeared.
The mysteriously disappearing blue shirt, a universal experience in any language.
And the beautiful thing about this technique is that it requires absolutely no extra time. You're already having these thoughts. You're already narrating your life in your native language. All you're doing is switching the channel.
Switching the channel. I love that image. Your brain is a television, and right now it's permanently tuned to your native language channel. This technique is just changing the channel to English.
And at first, it will feel like bad reception.
Fuzzy and unclear.
The words will not come quickly. You'll reach for the English word and find the native language words sitting there instead.
And you will have to wait a moment for the English to arrive.
And that waiting moment, that uncomfortable pause while you search for the English word, that's not failure. That's your brain building new pathways.
Every single time you wait for the English word instead of giving up and thinking in your native language, you are laying one more brick in the wall of your English thinking ability.
One brick at a time, until one day, like Jason in the bread aisle, the English is simply there, already waiting for you, without you having to search.
And it will happen faster than you think if you start this today. Not next week, today. Your very next thought after this episode ends. Try it in English.
So, way number one, narrate your daily life in English. The small, ordinary, mundane moments. Those are the best training ground because they're low pressure and constant.
No pressure, just practice. Way number two, ask yourself questions in English.
Okay, this one changed everything for me personally, and I want to explain exactly why.
Go ahead.
So, our internal lives are not just statements, they're questions. We spend enormous amounts of time inside our own heads asking ourselves things. What should I eat? Should I call her back? Why did I say that in the meeting? Did I turn off the stove?
The eternal stove question.
The stove question haunts everyone. And all of those internal questions in most learners are happening in the native language. And when the question is in the native language, the answer is also in the native language.
So the whole internal conversation stays in the native language. English never gets invited in.
But when you start asking yourself questions in English, something remarkable happens. Your brain has to find the answer in English too.
Because the question opened in English, the answer wants to arrive in English. The brain follows the language of the question.
And suddenly, you're having a full internal conversation in English, not because you decided to practice, but because the question pulled you in.
So what kinds of questions work? Simple ones, everyday ones. What do I want for lunch today? How am I feeling right now? What is one good thing that happened today? What do I need to do before tonight?
And here's a technique that I find incredibly powerful. At the end of each day, ask yourself 3 questions in English. What happened today? How did I feel about it? And what do I want tomorrow to look like?
3 questions every day in English, and you answer them in English, in your head, or out loud, or in a journal.
And over time, you'll notice something. The answers start arriving faster, with more vocabulary, with less searching, because your brain has been practicing this conversation every single day.
And the questions and answers become more complex, more nuanced, more truly you, until one day you realize that the most honest version of your internal life is starting to happen in English.
And that's the moment English stops being a second language and starts becoming your second self.
Your second self. Way number 2. Ask yourself questions in English. Start with simple ones, build up. Make it a daily habit as regular as brushing your teeth.
Way number 3. Think in single words first. And this one is specifically for the learners who hear way 1 and 2 and feel slightly overwhelmed.
Because maybe the idea of narrating your whole day in English feels like too big a jump right now. Maybe asking yourself questions in English feels like reaching for something just slightly too high right now.
And that feeling is completely valid. Not everyone is at the same starting point, and that's not a problem. That's just reality.
So way number 3 is the gentlest entry point into English thinking, and it's this. Instead of trying to think in full sentences, just think in single words.
Look at your coffee cup. Think the word hot, or bitter, or good.
Look out of your window. Think the word cloudy, sunny, busy, quiet.
Feel something. Think the word tired, hungry, content, bored, excited.
Just one word. in English, attached to whatever you're experiencing right now.
And this matters more than it sounds, because every English word you attach to a real experience, a real sensation, a real moment, becomes a living word rather than a dictionary word.
A living word.
Yes, there's a huge difference between knowing a word on a list and knowing a word from experience. When you see rain and think the word rain in English at the same moment, that word becomes anchored to the real thing, to the sound of it, the smell of it, the gray light it brings.
And anchored words are never forgotten because they are not stored in your memory as information, they're stored as experience.
And this is how children learn language, not by studying words, by experiencing the world and having a word arrive with each experience.
Your brain never loses the ability to learn this way. You can do it right now, today, with a single English word for whatever is around you.
Look at the room you are in. Think one English word for what you see. Just one. That word just became a living word for you.
Way number 3. Think in single words first. Simple, immediate, powerful. A single English word attached to a real moment is worth 20 words on a vocabulary list.
Way number 4. Replace your inner critic with an English voice.
Oh, this one is deep.
It is deep, and it is important, because every person has an inner voice, a running commentary on their own life. And for most people, that inner voice is their harshest critic.
It says things like, "That was embarrassing. You should have done better. Why did you say that? You are not good enough at this."
And that inner critic is almost always speaking in the native language, because shame and self-criticism are deeply native language experiences. They run in the oldest, deepest parts of our minds.
But here's something fascinating. When you consciously switch your inner voice to English, something shifts.
Because in English, that critic does not have the same emotional power it has in your native language. English is slightly more neutral for you, slightly less loaded, slightly less sharp.
A criticism in your native language hits you right in the chest. The same criticism in English lands a little more softly, with a little more distance, a little more perspective.
And that distance actually helps, because you can hear the criticism without being flooded by it. You can consider it, assess it, decide what is useful and what is just noise.
And when you respond to yourself in English, the response also tends to be kinder, more measured, more like something a good friend would say rather than an enemy.
Try it. Next time something goes wrong, next time you make a mistake, in English or in life, instead of letting your native language inner critic run wild, switch to English. Say to yourself, okay, that did not go well. What can I learn from this?
In English, out loud if you can, or silently if you are in public and do not want people to look at you.
Understandable.
And notice what happens. Notice how the English voice is slightly calmer, slightly more constructive, slightly more on your side.
And over time, that English voice becomes your primary thinking voice, not just for criticism, for everything. Planning, dreaming, processing, wondering.
Your whole rich, complex, beautiful inner life gradually making its home in English.
Way number 4. Replace your inner critic with an English voice. Be kinder to yourself in English than your native language allows.
Way number 5. And I saved this one for last because it is the one that sounds silliest but works the most powerfully.
What is it?
Talk to objects.
Talk to objects.
I know how that sounds, but hear me out, because this technique has a very specific and very real purpose.
Okay, I'm listening. Skeptically, but listening.
So the challenge with thinking in English is that most of us do not have English-speaking people around us all the time. We can't practice speaking with a partner at every moment of the day.
Right, the English-speaking partner is not always available.
But objects are always available. Your coffee mug is always there. Your shoes are always there. Your refrigerator, your bed, your window, your plant.
My plant.
Your plant. And the technique is simply to speak to them out loud in English.
So I say to my plant, "Good morning. You look very healthy today. Have you been getting enough light? I'm a little worried about your leaves."
And the plant says nothing, which makes it the perfect conversation partner. Never judges you, never corrects you, never makes you feel embarrassed. The plant is genuinely the most patient English teacher in the world.
Zero judgment, infinite patience, available 24 hours a day.
And this works because the act of speaking out loud in English, even to a plant, even to a coffee mug, even to your own reflection in the mirror, activates a completely different part of your brain than silent thinking does.
Speaking requires your brain to retrieve words, construct sentences, and produce sounds simultaneously. And that simultaneous process is the exact process required for real conversation.
So when you talk to your plant every morning, you're not being strange. You're running a rehearsal for the real conversations that will come.
And those conversations will come much easier because your brain has been doing this warm-up every single day.
And the more comfortable you become talking out loud to objects with no pressure, the more comfortable you'll be talking to actual people with real pressure.
Because the voice is already warm, the English is already flowing, the sentences are already happening. You're not starting from cold, you're already in motion. Way number 5. Talk to objects. Your coffee mug, your mirror, your plant. Especially your plant.
The plant will not tell anyone.
Absolute confidentiality guaranteed.
Okay, let's do a quick recap before the word tour because these 5 ways are simple and I want them to stay crystal clear.
Way 1. Narrate your daily life. The small, ordinary moments. Describe what you are doing in English as you do it.
Way 2. Ask yourself questions in English. What do I want? How do I feel? What happened today? Let the question pull the English answer out of you.
Way 3. Think in single words first. One English word attached to one real experience. Simple and immediately powerful.
Way 4. Replace your inner critic with an English voice. Kinder, calmer, more constructive, more on your side.
Way 5. Talk to objects. Out loud in English. Your plant is waiting.
Your very patient, very supportive plant.
And here's the thread that connects all 5. They all move English from the outside to the inside, from the classroom to the mind, from the study table to the living, breathing daily life.
Because that's where real fluency lives, not in textbooks, in your thoughts, in your inner voice, in the quiet moments of your ordinary day.
And those moments are happening right now, every hour, every day, waiting to become English practice without costing you a single extra minute of study time.
So start today. Choose one of the 5, just one, and try it before you sleep tonight.
Maybe narrate your next meal in English. Maybe ask yourself one question as you lie down tonight. Maybe whisper one English word to your pillow.
Good night, pillow. You look very soft today.
Perfect. That counts. That 100% counts.
Okay, word tour time. 10 expressions from today. Let's make them yours.
Listen, repeat out loud, and try to attach each one to something real in your life.
First expression, plateau.
A plateau is a period of no progress after a period of steady growth, like a mountain that suddenly becomes flat. You were improving, and then you stopped improving even though you kept working.
For example, she had been studying English for 2 years and felt her progress had reached a plateau. The vocabulary was growing, but the fluency felt stuck.
Or, hitting a plateau does not mean you have stopped being capable of growth. It often means your method needs to change rather than your effort. Repeat. Plateau.
Plateau.
Slowly. Plateau.
Next expression, direct.
In the context of thinking direct means without translation. Thought goes straight into English without stopping in your native language first. No detour, no conversion process.
For example, the moment she started thinking directly in English rather than translating everything, her speaking speed improved dramatically.
Or, direct thinking in a language is the mark of true fluency. The language becomes the thought rather than a container for the thought. Repeat. Direct.
Direct.
Take your time. Direct.
Next expression, narrate.
Narrate means to describe events as they happen, to give a running commentary, like a sports commentator describing a game as it unfolds in real time.
For example, she began to narrate her morning routine in English every day, quietly, to herself, and within weeks, the words came faster and more naturally.
Or, narrating your daily life in English is one of the most powerful and most overlooked techniques for building thinking fluency. Repeat. Narrate.
Narrate.
Slowly. Narrate.
Next expression, mundane.
Mundane means ordinary, everyday, unremarkable, not exciting or special, just the regular fabric of daily life. For example, the mundane moments of the day, making coffee, choosing clothes, walking to the shop, are actually the best opportunities for English thinking practice because they happen constantly and require no extra time.
Or, do not wait for special occasions to practice your English. The mundane moments are where real fluency is built. Repeat, mundane.
Mundane.
Take your time. Mundane.
Next expression, pathway.
A pathway in the brain is a connection between neurons that forms and strengthens through repeated practice. The more you use a pathway, the stronger and faster it becomes. Weak pathways make things feel difficult. Strong pathways make things feel effortless.
For example, every time he waited for the English word instead of retreating to his native language, he was building a new pathway in his brain. Over time, those pathways became highways.
Or, language fluency is simply a network of very strong, well-worn pathways. You build them one repetition at a time. Repeat, pathway.
Pathway.
Slowly, pathway.
Next expression, anchor.
To anchor something means to fix it firmly to something else. An anchored word is a word that is attached to a real experience rather than just stored as information. Anchored words are permanent. They do not disappear.
For example, she learned the word cozy by sitting in a warm cafe on a rainy afternoon and thinking the word cozy. It was anchored to that experience forever.
Or, anchor your new English vocabulary to real moments and real feelings. You will never forget a word that is tied to something you actually lived. Repeat, anchor.
Anchor.
Take your time. Anchor.
Next expression, neutral.
When something is neutral, it is not strongly positive or negative. It does not carry heavy emotional weight. In the context of language, thinking English can feel more neutral than your native language because it does not carry the same deep emotional history.
For example, the same self-critical thought felt crushing in his native language, but strangely manageable in English. The neutrality of the second language gave him distance from the emotion.
Or, sometimes writing or thinking in a second language helps you process difficult feelings because the language is more neutral and less triggering. Repeat, neutral.
Neutral.
Slowly, neutral.
Next expression, simultaneously.
Simultaneously means at the same time, multiple things happening together in the same moment, not one after the other, all at once.
For example, speaking a language requires your brain to simultaneously retrieve words, construct grammar, produce sounds, and monitor comprehension. It is an extraordinary multitasking performance.
Or, she was simultaneously nervous and excited about the conversation. Both feelings existed at the same time, each pulling in a different direction. Repeat, simultaneously.
Simultaneously.
Take your time. Simultaneously.
Next expression, retrieve.
To retrieve something means to find it and bring it back. When your brain retrieves a word, it searches through your memory and brings the word to the surface where you can use it. For example, in the early stages of learning a language, retrieval of words can feel slow and effortful. But with practice, retrieval becomes faster until it feels almost instantaneous. Or, regular use of new vocabulary strengthens retrieval. The more you use a word, the faster your brain can find it when you need it. Repeat, retrieve.
Retrieve.
Slowly, retrieve.
And our last expression today, in motion.
When something is in motion, it is already moving, already happening. It has started and it has momentum, the opposite of being stuck or static.
For example, once she began talking to herself in English every morning, her English was already in motion before any real conversation began. She arrived warm and ready.
Or, the hardest part of any new habit is starting, but once you are in motion, even slightly, staying in motion becomes much easier. Inertia works in your favor once you have begun. Repeat. In motion.
In motion.
Take your time. In motion.
That was our word tour for today. 10 expressions that will make your English thinking richer, sharper, and more alive.
And now we want to leave you with one final thought, and it is the most important thing we will say today.
What is that?
The English you want, the fluent, natural, effortless English that feels like breathing, it is not waiting for you at the end of a grammar book.
It is not waiting for you after the next vocabulary course or the next listening exercise.
It is waiting for you inside your own mind, in the space between your thoughts, in the quiet moments of your ordinary day.
It is waiting for you to invite it in.
And today we gave you 5 doors to open, 5 simple daily ways to extend that invitation.
Narrate your life. Question yourself in English. Think one word at a time. Be kind to yourself in English. And talk to your plant.
Especially the plant.
The plant is the key. I am completely convinced of this.
And we want to say something to the learner who is listening right now and thinking, I don't know if this will work for me. My English isn't good enough yet.
Yes, it is.
Your English is exactly good enough for the first thought in English today, even if that thought is just one word.
One word is a beginning, and a beginning is everything.
Because every fluent English speaker you have ever admired started with one word, one thought, one small, brave decision to let English in.
And that decision is available to you right now, this second, before this episode even ends.
So, make it. Let English in, open one of the 5 doors, and let us know in the comments which one you're starting with today.
We will be reading, and we will be cheering for every single one of you.
If today's episode lit something up in your English journey, please like it, subscribe to the English Leap podcast, and share it with one English learner who is stuck on that plateau and does not yet know that the way forward is already inside their own head.
Because it is. It always was.
This is Mia.
And this is Jason.
And you've been listening to the English Leap podcast.
Bye.
Bye! Go say hello to your plant. Your English journey just got a brand new training partner. Your progress doesn't end here. To continue advancing your English skills, click on the next video or explore the additional videos we've thoughtfully selected for you.